every time I produce like a movie of myself or of anything that I put up here, I'll go back and look at it myself. And there are actors who won't do that, you know. Like Johnny Depp said, he never looks at any of his movies. To me, there's always a kind of a fascination with what comes out, and I think film directors do that probably of their own work, is they'll go through and see if it's really saying what they think it's saying. But whenever I give like a any kind of big like sermon, I probably won't look at it because um, I know that there are flaws. I'll see flaws in my own sermons, and so the thing that kind of amazes me about these things is I don't really go to them writing something out. You can see that I'm reasoning in my process of reasoning about something that may be flawed. It has been flawed in the past. So when I self-deprecate, I'm really saying that you can't really trust all that I say because I'm really just thinking it up on the fly. I'm using assumptions. I'm making bad judgments and all sorts of stuff. But you can see kind of where I'm going at, what I'm going for, the goal of what I'm trying to say, and or what my judgment system is. It may not be completely. And so the thing is don't see me as any big deal, you know, because if you do, then you're going to be. The thing is just to take what I say and then kind of make your own ideas about based on and then maybe you'll see somewhere where we agree and we don't agree. It says something in the Bible. It says where any two of you are, there I am, and so Jesus is where we agree. You know, if we're really seeking Jesus's um, teachings, or we're seeking the values that are representative of Jesus. See, you can not really want to be anything having to do with Christian uh, or with Jesus' sayings, but if your values and your morals that you're developing are similar, then in essence, you're following Jesus anyhow. And so it's just that you're calling it your own. You're developing your own value system, but you're not. But you're doing it kind of apart from looking at the Bible. It's possible to be completely Christian without ever being officially Christian, and so it's that's another reason why you should never judge others as being evil. You don't really know them. They might be Christian or they might not be Christian, but they might be by the values that they've selected Christian in essence. And so they have the potential to become Christian. If they have the potential to become Christian, then they should be treated as Christian. See, not they shouldn't. You don't address them as being Christian, but you value them in that they could be Christian, or maybe one day will be Christian. So everybody is pretty much Christian in essence, because you don't write them off as not ever having the capacity to become Christian, unless they are so diametrically opposed to being Christian. Are they going to be diametrically opposed to all the morals that are in the Christian set of morals? Um, are, if they're not, then they're just really it's something having to do with Jesus that it discussed them, and I don't think Jesus would have any problem with that. Jesus has more of a problem with um, anything that being diametrically opposed to anything he has to say, being diametrically opposed to all the morals that are developed as a result of that. There are places where the disciples or the apostles were saying, there are all these people over here teaching your stuff and they're not like us. And I mean, they're not really Christian, they're just kind of posers. And Jesus says, let them teach the word, let them teach the word. They may not be for it, but they're doing good. They're teaching the moral system. Uh, they're teaching, they're a conduit through which my teachings are reaching people. Um, Even if their heart isn't in it, it's still they're still a conduit, they're still spreading it. So if somebody's like, say, got a bunch of DVDs, Christian DVDs, and they make a bunch of they make a bunch of copies of them and then go and distribute it elsewhere, um, the word's still getting out. It may be by a bad means, but maybe they start watching it themselves and then they start agreeing by it and they stop doing what they're doing. Or maybe they continue to do what they're doing and your understanding of what they're doing as being bad because it's not capitalistic. Um, in the Bible, it says don't hold back good, and they may have the same perception that I have, is that if you have a talent for um, producing good suggestions and things like that, and doing sermons, if your gift is producing if you have a spiritual gift, why would you hold it back for money? And if you're so concerned about your survivability that you've got to have money and you're willing to hold your spiritual gift for ransom, what does that say about your faith in God and Jesus? Are they going to be able to pull you through all the life obstacles? Are you going to be able to make enough money? It says in the Bible, it says, give unto others and you will have things, and God will reward you. And that's all the same sort of thing, is that why would you make books to sell to people, and you're making a name for yourself as some sermon writer or something like that? Is that capitalism really a good thing? It is for some things, but for other things, where it's a spiritual gift that's given to you freely, why not give it freely to other people? And in this day and age where anything can be cloned fairly easily, why try to produce products anymore? Why not be the product? And by being the product, you spread things freely, you spread the word freely. You're doing a service there, and you'll develop enjoyment from spreading that spiritual gift. So anyhow, so if you see somebody doing that and they're selling DVDs, or if they're just spreading them out for free, how is that any different than what you should be doing? I mean, or what you're doing, and what is the intent there? Is the intent to make money, or is the intent to spread the word? I mean, it would be so much easier for those people to spread a lot of pornography or something like that and make money off of that stuff. There's something that has no morals in it, or the wrong morals. But if they're spreading Jesus's preachings through DVDs and stuff that's chock full of morals, and they're choosing to do that, what does that say about them? Maybe they're just pandering to a Christian crowd and they can see that they're always going to spend money on them. But in that, they're going to be influenced by the Christians, and probably as a result, somewhere down the road become Christians themselves. So you don't write them off because they're not they're not at the level at your level of what Christian is. You know, you're not holding them to your. I mean, if you hold other people to the standards that you see as good, then what chance do they ever have of being good? You know, and so you can't really do that. You know, when I judge Trump, I'm not saying that Trump can't change. It's just that he has a nature of not wanting to change, and because of that nature and the kinds of fruits he's produced in the past, people made assumptions on his producing lots of money. You can produce a lot of money by cheating people too, but people assumed that all the stuff that he did was legal, and it wasn't. We're finding out that he had $100 million of debt, and we're also finding out that he was claiming that there would be some sort of fund for a political fund for that would go into finding out if the election was correct or whatever. I mean that you know that there was fraud or something. He produced this bogus fund of and said to support it, you know, and it'll push forth our cause or something. And the fact of it is the fund didn't even exist, and the 250 million that went into it just kind of went to his own self-seeking needs. And so he's pretty much performed the same sort of thing he did in the past that he's done many times before. And what I would say is to say don't have him as a president and don't, you know, have anything to do with him. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have the capacity to change in the future. Just don't have anything to do with him.